And in one of the most ridiculous things I've seen over the last, I don't know, years, was it Michael Florio? No, it wasn't Michael Florio. Somebody else prominent. Oh, I think it was Mel Kiper Jr., who was sitting there the other day talking about, like, we need to get rid of the too high safety in the NFL. It's too unbeatable. And of course, our guys, Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, took him to task, saying this was the dumbest thing of all time. And it truly is. And I understand the sentiment of, like, hey, we want to open up these games a little bit more. We want more arena football like scores and everything. But what we really need, though, is offensive coordinators to go out and figure out how to beat the too high. Maybe a little bit more patience on offense. You know, you can move the ball. Believe it or not, you can actually run the ball if you want to. Take the underneath stuff, matriculate down the field, as Hank Stram used to say back in those great NFL films montage or just videos. I get you want more points, but at the same time, I just want to see good football. I want to see guys executing the game plan, going out there, whether you're throwing the ball 50 yards down the field or not. None of that matters. You don't outlaw anything. I think it was Sean Salisbury. He's like, what are we going to do? Implement 3 alligator so we have time to, and as a Bears fan, I'm like, you know what, Sean, that actually might not be a bad idea. If we could do 3 alligator, Caleb Williams might have enough time to throw the football. But listen, we have plenty of time to get into that. So, Juliana, let's go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois, the sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. Week 3 on the road at the Indianapolis Colts. It should be a good one. The Matt Eberflus revenge game. Although Tyler Scott was on with us earlier this week, and he's like, we're not really talking about that. There's really no animosity for Matt Eberflus going back to Indianapolis. He wasn't, unceremoniously dumped or anything like that. There's no reason for any sort of angst or anything. But at the same time, this is a huge opportunity for the Chicago Bears to get started as they sit there on the road. And by the way, if you're ever traveling on the road, can I recommend the Manta sleep mask? Oh my gosh, it's the only mask designed and optimized for the deepest possible sleep in any environment. 100% blackout for deeper sleep, infinitely adjustable for personalized fit, absolute comfort. Visit mantasleep.com. Use the code SICKBEARS for 10% off. And on Thursday night, I was not able to use it. I was on GMFB. Friday morning, you might have seen the show. And we were talking a little bit about the New York Jets. And I bring this up because Aaron Rodgers is prominent in our minds again. And we saw him on the sideline Thursday evening shoving Robert Saleh, like right there. And I kind of equated it to like when your friend's overly hyped that you got a par. Like, hey, great par. You're like, dude, I just had 3 double bogeys. Like, get away from me. Aaron Rodgers is back in our lives. And I don't know how I feel about it because part of me wants to, now that he's no longer, it's like the bully who's moved away and you're like, oh, he moved away to New York, but now he's like back in our lives. And you're like, I don't know how I feel about this. So we'll see. We'll see if everything holds up, but it's for the New York Jets. And I love it for the Jets fans because they've gone through a sort of similar trajectory over the last, 40 years, trying to find that franchise quarterback. Now, when you sit there and you look at those things about like the Bears, hey, the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. Well, the funny thing is the Jets, the last Jets quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in a season was Joe Namath. Yeah, Joe Namath in the 60s. That's how they escaped. That's how we always seem to be in that category of we've never had a team throw for 4,000 yards in a season because the Jets got it done in the AFL in the 1960s. I think it was the 68 season. It might have been the season that they won the Super. Actually, I'm not sure it was the season they won the Super Bowl. Something quirky about that. But the Jets have had similar issues as well. And what I was encouraged by in week 3 was that the Jets seem to finally kind of put it together. Now, if you have Garrett Wilson on your fantasy team, that quite hasn't taken hold yet. But still, you saw the Jets go out there and move the ball. You know, they were able to put up points. It was a laugher. Like, they were going away from the New England Patriots. That game was not competitive. They were running all over the field. That is starting to give me a little bit of life for the Chicago Bears here heading into week 3, because the Jets did a great thing of running the football. And again, if you have Breece Hall on your fantasy team, you might not like it. You might not enjoy it because, you know, he was sort of splitting carries with Braylon Allen. And you're like, hey, and funny enough, as I was sitting there, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, on Thursday evenings, we have soccer practice for my U10 team, the defending champions, the Red Lightning, back-to-back defending champs, the Red Lightning. And so we're sitting there, and I come home to like a ton of text messages of all the guys in my league who are like, hey, Rank, thanks for letting us know that this was going to be a full-blown committee back there. And it was 16 attempts to 11 attempts. But the point of it is, and why it pertains to the Bears, is that the Jets got the rhythm of their offense going again by running the football, establishing the run. And you might even be like, hey, the Jets have a better offensive line. They spent free agent money on 2 tackles in the offseason. They drafted Ola Fashanu, and I get all of that. But still, they go into that game plan wanting to run the football. And it was quite evident. And the Patriots had been very good against the run. I think the Patriots have been pretty good defensively, although Charbonnet did get some run against them. So it's not outlandish. So they weren't perfect. But still, short week. How do you get your quarterback comfortable? You go out there and you run the football, which is exactly what the Jets did. And that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers needed to start feeling comfortable and to get a little success. And we talked about this with Greg Braggs. We even talked about this a little bit with Tyler Scott this week about getting back to the basics. Matt Eberflus, you know, when he was in his press conference, was talking about this like, hey, we're trying to figure out what we do well. We're trying to figure out how we can run the football. And for me, that is going to be a big key this week. The good news is that the Indianapolis Colts have given up a lot of production to running backs this season. In fact, over the first 2 weeks of the season, they've given up close to 500 rushing yards. And to find a team that has been that bad against the run through the first 2 weeks of the season, you have to go back to 1978. The Baltimore Colts gave up more yards rushing than the Indian. And this isn't a Colts thing. Like, that was just the last team. Coincidentally, it just happened to be the Baltimore Colts who gave up that much production on the ground. And so this Colts team is vulnerable. Not only the Colts, but the Rams the following week, the Carolina Panthers the following week. So for me, I think this is a really good opportunity for the Bears to get back to basics, get some more 12 personnel out there. I think I saw the statistic. Mercedes Lewis has been out there about 33% of the time, which isn't bad in any stretch of the imagination. But for me, I would love to see a lot more 12 personnel. Kari Blasingame is healthy and ready to go. I would like to see him out on the field blocking and getting that done. To the point, like, with Keenan Allen banged up as well, why aren't we running more 2 receiver sets, bringing in an extra tight end, maybe going 13 personnel? I don't care. Run the football. I know it's boring, and I know that we want to go out there and we want to see the high-flying offenses and all that stuff, but you think about all the great Bears players. It's always been running backs, like Walter Payton. There is a reason why, when I was a child, I collected Walter Payton football cards. And speaking of football cards, at Windy City Sports Cards, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. Whether you are a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, or Sky, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles, in addition to their Chicago-focused items. They've got all sorts of other cards. So if you watch Shohei Ohtani go 50-50 this season, and for the Dodger fans, this has been quite a revelation because they didn't watch Shohei Ohtani for years. Now all of a sudden they show up like, oh, turns out Star Wars is pretty good. Like, yeah, you're a little late to the party. But in any event, running the football is what we want to see out of the Chicago Bears. I hope they turn it around. I will have my Bears pick here in just a moment. And by the way, speaking of Walter Payton, this shirt is actually from Homage. Some of the greatest sports shirts that we have going right now are from Homage. They specialize in ultra comfy, high quality looks, repping sports, pop culture, and more legendary moments. You can learn more about Homage with the link in the description. And Fridays, it's traditionally an opportunity for me to wear some Bears gear, whether I'm on GMFB or doing the NFL Fantasy Live Show. I love to go and represent. And it's funny to me because I was sitting there this week, and Kyle Brandt was on the Good Morning Football, and he's been back in the Chicago Cardinals. I still think of them as the Chicago Cardinals, the Southsiders who played at Comiskey Park. The former Morgan Athletic Club. Of course, they eventually moved to St. Louis, on to Arizona. Many of you might not be aware, although I'm sure a lot of you are. They were a original Chicago team. And so I was kind of taken aback by it. And I had to call out Kyle for that. And also to let everybody know, too, a couple of things before we get to the picks. I was going to say this, is that I got my plane flight November 3rd, flying into Phoenix to go see the Bears take on the Arizona Cardinals, the former Southsiders. For anybody in Southern California, we will be at Rip Beer Company on Sunday morning, watching the Bears take on the Indianapolis Colts. I will let you know, I'm going to be there a little bit early because in the Premier League, Arsenal is on the road to the Etihad, going to play Man City. So I'm going to watch the first half at home, go down to Rip Beer Company, be watching the Premier League while we get set up for the Bears, and then check out that stuff and see what happens. Hopefully Arsenal is ready to go and ready to play in that one. But it's the Bears that we care about right here. And right now, it is time for Circa Picks.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois.
Sick Picks. Sorry, presented by Circa Sports. I'll get it right. Listen, much like the Bears offense, I am still trying to find my way, and I want to let everybody know that the world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is here in Illinois. The Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be. Big app bets, inline betting, high betting limits, money line splits, and the best customer service going. The Circa Sports app in Illinois is a great resource for anybody who enjoys a little action on these games. Go to circasports.com for more details. Get ready to start betting like a pro. And if you or someone you know has a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234. And of course, visit the Circa Sports book at the American Place Casino in Waukegan. So let's get into the picks. I will do the Bears pick last. Let's look at some of these games. I think there's some interesting things that are going to be happening in the NFL this week. Now, we'll start off in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Steelers playing host to the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 2-0. And I think for a lot of us, still smarting from the fact that we did not hire Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has had no problem establishing the run with the Los Angeles Chargers. This week will be a little bit of a different story. I have the Steelers winning this one 13-5. No, they just don't give up a lot of points. And of course, our friend Justin Fields is playing great. I love to see it. I'm not upset by Justin Fields going out there and playing well. And here's my thing too. I truly believe that we can root for Justin Fields, and not just selfishly for the 4th round pick we would get if he continues to start games, and we hope that he does. But at the same time, I'm still a Justin Fields fan. I don't need it to be acrimonious because he's no longer playing for the Chicago Bears. For me, I hope he does well on a human level because I'm a fan of his, and I want him to do well. And it just so happens we get a better draft pick if that happens. But still, it's fine. And it's not a thing too. And I know like somebody came up to me the other day at the line, the pickup line at my kid's elementary school was like, oh, Caleb and Justin, same guy. And I'm like, you know what? Like, first of all, Caleb's played 2 games in the NFL. Caleb also has a real opportunity to kind of set his own course. I think that some of the things, and Matt Eberflus talked about this, where he's like, as weird as it sounds, I thought Caleb was better in the second week than he was the first week. And I absolutely agree. And I think what we're seeing in pre-snap reads and all that stuff, and as long as they get the run going, we'll be fine. It's kind of what Pittsburgh's doing. Like the Bears need to kind of follow that model of like, we're going to score just enough points to win. We're not going to be worried about hanging half 100 on a team. I'll take it. You know, I'd love to do it like the Saints are. But at the same time, if we're winning like the Steelers, where we're doing enough offensively to get Caleb comfortable, what's wrong with that? You know, I think that's more of a problem if you have a 5th-year quarterback who's trying that you're doing that with, as opposed to a guy on a second start. So I'm fine with it. So I got the Steelers beating the Chargers. The Vikings are playing host to the Houston Texans, and the Vikings have been playing really good. And I thought they would be fine. Like I didn't think I had them pegged for 7-8 wins coming into this season. And now it's just kind of, is this team good? Is this a good ball club? So for me, I look at this and Sam Darnold's playing well and Justin Jefferson's rebounded. For anybody who passed on Justin Jefferson in your fantasy draft, I hope you're feeling foolish now because Justin Jefferson looks great. It'll be a great matchup against the Texans, who are coming off a victory over our Bears on a Sunday Night Football, traveling to Minnesota. I'm tempted. You know, I think that the Texans go into this one. I think the Texans win a squeaker. I think it's low scoring. I think it's somewhere around the range of like 23-19 Texans, but I'm into that one. All right, the Browns playing host to the New York Giants. The Browns fans are already getting a lot of wind in their jaw again because I had the Browns starting 1-1. I had the games reversed of what they were going to win. So now, oh, look at this guy. Missed both. I'm like, I said you'd be 1-1. You're 1-1. Calm down. I had them preseason wise beating the Giants. I kind of hope the Giants win this one now. I kind of want it. I want it, but I don't think it's practical. I think the Giants handle this Giants team. I really think that Brian Daboll is going to be in a little bit of trouble. I'm trying to figure out where Brian Daboll is going to be the offensive coordinator next year. He's not going to be coaching the Giants. This is what happens when you hitch your wagon to Daniel Jones. All right, Saints, Eagles. Man, this is a tough one. The Saints have put up nearly half 100 in both their opening contests against the who they play, not the Buccaneers. They played who was it in week 1? It doesn't matter. They destroyed the Cowboys last week. Oh, they played Carolina and the Cowboys. So for me, I think that the Saints offense is sustainable. You want to know why? They run 12 personnel. They've been running 3 tight ends out there. A lot of 12 personnel, 2 receiver sets, protect your quarterback. And when you need to dump the ball off, you got Alvin Kamara. So this is a form of like, I swear, somebody asked me this too. Like, were the Bears in on Clint Kubiak? And I'm like, I want to pretend they weren't. That they had identified Shane Waldron, and it was a thing. But I'm going to go with the Saints in that one. I think the Saints win there. Buccaneers playing host to the Denver Broncos. Everybody knows, like, if you ever watch me on TikTok or anything like that, you know that I've been backing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or excuse me, I've been backing the Broncos. And we got a thing going with the Broncos fans. And so for the first 2 weeks of the season, I was on the Broncos bandwagon. And Bo Nix has not played well. I truly believe they can get it together. And it wouldn't shock me if the Broncos win this one, but I got to take the Buccaneers. They're playing well, and I'm happy to see Baker Mayfield. And again, if you're the Carolina Panthers, if you're Bryce Young, and you're sitting here watching guys like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, 2 Carolina Panthers legends go out there and play very well, then you should take heart in that. And then realize, like, hey, you know, when Bryce Young ends up with the Rams, he'll probably revive his career. Let's go Titans, Packers. Oh, man. I don't want to go against the family here. Dude, I'm not picking that. I'm not picking the Packers. Give me the Titans in this one. I'm going to pay for it. Titans. I still believe Jordan Love is going to play. Listen, I'm shocked that Jordan Love didn't play last week. I'm really shocked by it. I thought they were going to do the Kevin Nash, where he rolls up there in the wheelchair and this removes it. The cast is fake. Goes out there and has a great game. But I'm going to go with the Titans in that one. Raiders playing host to the Panthers. I'm going to say this. Andy Dalton probably gives the Panthers a better chance to win. It's why I like players like Deontay Johnson in fantasy this week. I'm still taking the Raiders. Dolphins on the road, going to Seattle. It's amazing to me that when the Dolphins have to go to Seattle, it's the longest trip in the NFL. Seattle never gets the benefit of the doubt for how much they have to travel. The Seahawks travel great. Just to get to Arizona is not necessarily an easy trip. But nobody ever worries about them and how much they have to travel. There's all the poor Dolphins. The Dolphins are without Tua Tagovailoa. And I'll be honest with you, I thought the Seahawks were going to struggle this season. But they stole one against the Broncos in week 1. They played the Patriots. I thought they would be 1-1 coming into this week. I thought the Dolphins would go on the road and beat them. But that's not going to happen with Skylar Thompson. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks there. Cardinals playing host to the Lions. I'm going to go with the Lions. Again, Kyle Brandt was all over the Cardinals. Don't appreciate that. I'm not going to be jumping on the bandwagon, although I do have shares of Kyler Murray everywhere. Jared Goff has not played that well, but still, if they don't turn the ball over, they should win. Cowboys and Ravens. The Ravens on the road here. The Ravens can't start 0-3, right? That's the whole thing I keep coming back to. The Ravens can't start 0-3. And if you look at the Cowboys, the last 2 Cowboys home games, and the Cowboys are at home in this one. The last 2 Cowboy home games, they have not stopped the run at all. Aaron Jones, monster game against him in the playoffs. We also had the guy last week, Alvin Kamara, score 15 touchdowns against. It was crazy. Derrick Henry, talk about a team that needs to establish the run. Get Derrick Henry running downfield, downhill. The Ravens should win that game. Rams, 49ers. It's a Rams home game. 49ers destroy them. There's too many hurt guys. Too many injuries on the Rams. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if the 49ers started off 1-2. After losing, if the 49ers were coming into this game 2-0, win over the Vikings, I might side with the Rams. But I'm going to go with the 49ers. Chiefs, Falcons. I'm going to tell you right now. If you saw the NFL.com videos this week, the preview videos, I took the Falcons to defeat the Chiefs. I was the lone wolf in that one, although Peter and Kyle joined the bandwagon on GMFB. I'm sticking, with the Falcons. Jags, Bills. The Jags actually play the Bills really well. Give me the Bills. They've been too good running the football. Joe Brady, it's been great. Commanders, Bengals, Monday Night Football. Give me the Bengals. I'm ready for the conversation about Jaden Daniels to be done with. And, he's playing way. Okay, we'll see this week. Because, as the Bears sit here and go into Indianapolis, and the Jaden Daniels people have been able to be like, hey, look, Jaden Daniels has been playing. He's been out playing. It's easy when you play the Giants. When you play the Giants, you're going to look better. Go play the Texans and the Titans and tell me how it does. So for me, I am obviously picking the Chicago Bears to win this game. I do believe they're going to get the ball moving on the ground. That is going to open up Caleb Williams for a couple of plays. I do love that James Odunze has been calling out Dan Orlovsky. I love that. I think that's been absolutely tremendous. So I look forward to them. I think I like DJ Moore this week. I like Rome Odunze. I do like the rushing attack. DeAndre Swift should be able to move the ball on the ground. I saw somebody recently being like, don't start DeAndre Swift. I'm like, why? I mean, if it's a thing about you're fearing There's a committee with the Chicago Bears. Okay, that's fair. They should be able to run the ball against this team. If they don't, then I think we can have some legitimate conversations about what the hell is wrong with this offense. But for me, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I truly believe the Bears are going to come out and run the football, win this game. I think they're going to win this game pretty handedly. And I think they're going to give Anthony Richardson, not Anthony Davis. Yes, the Lakers center is starting at quarterback for the Colts. No, I think they frustrate Anthony Richardson, and I think this is going to be a Bears victory. So for me, put me down for the Bears. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Use this information to do whatever it is that you do with it. I don't know. I pick games. It's what I do for a living. They make me do it for NFL.com. I come here and I do it here for the Sick Podcast. Thanks to everybody for being here. We'll be back. So I think we're going to so I've been on TikTok and Instagram Sunday mornings doing some fantasy updates. Well, I'm going to hit that about 10 Eastern this week because of the Arsenal game. And I think we might stream it this week. If not, check me out on Instagram or TikTok. We'll get your last minute advice in for fantasy football. We'll be back after the game on Sunday evening to talk about this Bears victory. So until that time, we'll see you next time. Juliana, go ahead and play us out, and we'll see you soon. Bear down.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois.